It was the first major sea battle of the 21st century. A savage affair fought at point-blank range off the coast of northern Sri Lanka last year. This government gunboat with its 14-man crew is still officially listed as missing in action. But now their fate is no longer a mystery. As these pictures show, they were fatally mauled by sea tigers, the maritime arm of the most sophisticated and successful guerrilla organisation in the world today, the LTTE, the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. For 19 years, the Tigers have fought for an independent homeland for Sri Lanka's ethnic Tamil minority. They've proved to be more than a match for government forces, attempting to blockade rebel-held areas. The Sea Tigers have destroyed a third of Sri Lanka's navy, more than 40 vessels. With blood quite literally running off the decks, the Tigers board the stricken vessel, stripping off weapons and equipment.
Hey friend, looks like he's alive. See whether he's alive. Look at this man. And look at this man, the man at the end.
The Tigers have also sunk government hopes of gaining a decisive military victory. Now, with a ceasefire declared and the two sides preparing to talk peace, the Tigers permit a glimpse of one of their most effective weapons. The camera teams that go into battle and record these extraordinary images. The so-called Truth Tigers, warriors of the information age. Peace may finally be in the air, but the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam still sing of suffering and sacrifice. For the first time in nearly a decade, it's possible to cross the front lines into Tiger territory. The self-declared Tamil Eelam, homeland for 400,000 ethnic Tamils, who today eke out a living amid the ruins of a war that has claimed more than 65,000 lives.
Our great revolutionary movement has given us this mission for the independence and freedom of our people. We have sacrificed our wealth, body and thoughts.
From the very beginning, the Tigers understood the power of propaganda, the need to win and hold the hearts and minds.
For the freedom of the Tamil nation, we must be faithful.
And these women form part of the most powerful weapon in an already impressive armoury. Members of the Nida Shanam unit, a Tamil word meaning reality and truth, they are the Truth Tigers. The Truth Tigers are expected to be in the first wave of any attack, recording images of a war fought on a scale few outside Sri Lanka comprehend. 13,000 Tigers, taking on and often defeating Sri Lanka's modern army of 110,000 in huge set-piece battles. Every unit of 100 fighters is accompanied by 2 Truth Tigers, armed only with video cameras and suicidal bravery. In any war, truth is the first casualty. And in this conflict, the first casualties are often the Truth Tigers. all the camera operators seen here died in these battles. Over the past decade, the 120-strong Truth Tiger unit has lost 51 killed and more than 100 seriously wounded.
On the battlefield, amid the fighting, we don't think about death. We don't think about escaping. We get enthusiastic. You're so involved in the work, filming, documenting what is happening.
21-year-old Nadhi is a Truth Tiger veteran. She was indifferent to the Tiger's cause until an indiscriminate airstrike killed her relatives.
While I was returning from school, they were bombing and my cousins were killed in that incident. I saw this with my own eyes and many people died. And I thought I would die also.
Deciding it better to die fighting, she joined the Tigers aged only 14. Nadhi hasn't seen her mother in years, and this has been her family ever since. The Truth Tigers Women's Unit, which remains strictly segregated from the men, except in battle. The role of honour, a reminder that life here is about struggle, sacrifice, and devotion to the so-called elder brother. Tamil Tiger leader Velupallai Perabarahan.
We meet our elder brother very often. When I see our elder brother, it's like seeing my mother. He loves us and treats us affectionately. So I don't feel so bad about missing my own mother.
Of 19 Truth Tigers who filmed the last campaign, 12 were killed in action. So there's a constant need for new recruits. Learning to see the battlefield through the viewfinder of a camera requires a special skill. Live ammunition is used in training, a reminder that mistakes can be fatal.
They're going to attack, so do not stand behind here, because the backblast will get you. You stand to the side to film correctly. Okay?
Fire!
We're looking for two aspects. One, the person has the potential, the courage to undertake this training. The second, to film the fighting beautifully with artistic talent.
It's not only battles that are filmed. Every detail of the planning and preparation is also recorded. After the fighting, every order, every move is analysed. It's this attention to detail that makes the Tigers one of the most ruthlessly efficient guerrilla armies in the world.
1, 2, 3.
Hidden away in a village are sophisticated video production facilities, crucial to getting the Tigers' message out. The chaos, pain and panic of battle is edited out. The focus on the relentless march to victory, the atrocities committed by government forces and the heaped bodies of enemy dead.
The Sri Lankan army faced its worst ever debacle in the Tamil homeland.
The videos produced here are sent to the 500,000, mainly middle-class Tamils, now living in Europe, Australia and Canada, who secretly donate about $60 million a year to the cause, despite the Tigers being declared a terrorist organisation by many Western countries. The mastermind of this video campaign for Tamils abroad is the Tigers' second-in-command, Political Secretary Tamil Chelvan.
As far as we are concerned, our people overseas, they have to have some relationship with us. They have to know about what is going on here, for example.
But that's an important part. I mean, a critical part of your struggle has been to get the money to keep the whole thing going, to buy the supplies and the weapons. I mean, that's well documented.
That's not a priority of fundraising. The contributions are not just for strengthening arms. People abroad also give money, not only for that, but also through Tamil organisations, for example, the Rehabilitation Organisation. Because the Sri Lankan government blockades everything, and the people's lives are disrupted by this.
This is the other crucial element of the Truth Tigers' work, recruiting and boosting morale in villages under their control. In a world without communication or entertainment, it's not that difficult pulling a crowd for a speech by Tiger leader Pirabarahan.
No other freedom fighters in the world have achieved the miracles of our movement.
In the secretive world of the Tigers, the elder brother cuts an Orwellian figure, omnipresent yet invisible. Few ordinary Tamils have ever seen him in the flesh. In theory, this is a nationalist movement, leavened with Marxism. But in appearance, it is more the cult of personality. Elder brother is the Tiger movement, saviour, enforcer, protector from a hostile world. The main feature is always a war movie, a dose of reality TV, recording the heroic exploits of the Tigers. Playing tonight, Unceasing Waves 3. And this is the target audience. The Tigers insist that all recruits are now aged at least 17. But the United Nations and Amnesty International claim children as young as 12 are still in the ranks.
Tell me what you think of the videos. We like the fighting. You like the fighting? Yes, yes. Why do you like the fighting? Because in the fighting between the army and the Tigers win.
With the peace process underway, recruitment has officially stopped. But there are plenty of volunteers here, should the Tigers go back to war.
And when you grow up, will you join the Liberation Tigers? Yes. When? Not now. When I'm old enough.
Conditioned by a lifetime of propaganda, the next generation of recruits will discover that on the battlefield there is no glamour, only the certainty of an early death, disfigurement, or a life scarred by trauma.
Attack! Attack! Quick! The tank is going!
These scenes, filmed by Nadhi in early 2000, recorded the turning point of the conflict, the battle for Elephant Pass. When the Tigers overran this, the army's biggest, most heavily fortified complex, the Sri Lankan government finally realised there would be no military solution to this war.
Brother, brother, don't get in my way. Come this side, move.
Filming alongside Nadhi was her best friend and camera partner, Yasu.
We both came together to undertake military training, and we stayed together. And both of us went to fight together. So we were just together from the first day. Yasu was a person who was anxious to do everything in life. If there was any fighting, she was very keen to fight. She's also anxious to be there filming the action.
Nadhi and Yasu filmed what they knew would never be included in the propaganda videos. The jammed weapons, raw fear and confusion that clouds even the best planned battle.
We both went to the Elephant Pass battle together when the army was retreating. Our boys were attacking the retreating enemy, and we had to film them and document the battle to show to the world.
At one point, the Sri Lankan soldiers were clearly visible, only a couple of 100 metres away. Exhausted in their retreat, they didn't even bother to take cover as the Tigers fired. But then army artillery shells slammed into the Tigers' position. Yasul, standing just metres from Nadhi, was killed. For an instant, Nadhi continued filming as her friend's body was carried off. Then in shock, she dropped the camera.
When we were filming, she died beside me. With my camera, I was able to document her death, but it affected me somewhat.
Whenever possible, Nadhi ventures down this track to visit Yasul's family, to fulfil a promise made to Yasul, who had a premonition of her death only days before the battle. Nearly 2 years on, the shock has passed. But there is very little left to be said, as Nadhi and Yasul's mother, Paramaswari, share a silent grief.
The second anniversary is coming up. Are you doing anything for Yasu? We'll do something. Are you doing it for both of them? Yes, for both of them.
Yasul's brother, Jayabalan, also died fighting for the Tigers. They were the eldest of 9 children, in a family that has nothing to give but its offspring. Like so many in the rebel-held area, they've lived in squalor as refugees since fleeing anti-Tamil riots in the capital Colombo 20 years ago. Nadhi's visits offer some rare comfort.
We're grieving, still grieving. We lost our 2 eldest children under these circumstances. They were fighting, and these children come to us to make us happy. Seeing them is like seeing our lost children.
The ceasefire is finally offering some relief from the intolerable conditions in Tiger territory. Minefields are being cleared, and civilians are now permitted to cross the front lines, closely monitored by the Sri Lankan army. Despite hardships imposed by the military and economic blockade, there's still fierce support for the Tiger cause, which the Army's Northern Commander attributes to the propaganda work of the Truth Tigers. Is it a powerful weapon?
It is. It is definitely a powerful weapon. You have to accept it.
Yet incredibly, in this age of information warfare, it is a weapon the Army refuses to use, preferring to rely on old-fashioned censorship, communiques, and keeping cameras off the battlefield.
As far as the security forces are concerned, whenever we have successes of this nature, we do not sort of video it and then propagate that, because seeing lots of dead bodies is not a good sign, you know, so therefore we don't do it. Now, like in the operation at Valioya, right, we had lots of dead bodies of the LTT cadres, but we never used them for propaganda, because it is sort of detested by the population.
If there is to be reconciliation, the issue of war crimes also needs to be confronted. This is another, albeit grisly, task of the Truth Tigers, documenting the dead. In this war without rules or compassion, few prisoners are taken. These pictures were recorded by Nadhi's unit after the Tigers overran the Kilinochchi army camp in '98, killing more than 1,000 troops. There were no prisoners. Earlier, when another military base at Mulativu was captured, there were 1,500 dead. Again, no prisoners. The Tigers claim somewhat implausibly that the army always fights to the last man. But the military has another explanation.
I think the LTT kills most of the security forces personnel who even sort of surrenders because they are seen in the Mulativu operation, and maybe because of administrative problems that they may be adapting this system.
Administrative problems?
Problems of the LTT.
So sorry, just explain that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because when you take a large number of POW, you have to administer them, and you have to have places to keep them, and you have to register them and show them to the ICRC. So that may be the reasons.
But many Tigers regard this as due retribution. Government massacres of Tamil civilians have been well documented, and captured Tigers are routinely tortured. All Tigers carry a cyanide capsule. Nadhi's placed around her neck by the elder brother himself, with orders to commit suicide when facing capture.
If it looks like we're going to be captured by the enemy on the battlefield, we then bite this capsule and it will kill us, so as to protect our military secrets from the enemy. The secrets are more important than our lives. Our elder brother, the leader, tied this to me. I've worn it ever since.
The Tigers have now launched another propaganda offensive, this time aimed at the world's media. Recently, the Truth Tigers organised a conference for 300 members of the international press. Displaying the trademark obsession with security, they methodically filmed everyone in attendance. Since the September 11 attacks in the United States, the term terrorist has carried a powerful new connotation. And it was the Americans' declaration of war on global terrorism that finally pushed the Tigers towards the peace negotiation table. For the first time in nearly a decade, elder brother Pirabarahan emerged from the shadows, wearing a civilian suit of reconciliation instead of his usual tiger stripe fatigues. But as a gesture, it failed. This was a press conference of platitudes, a media event long on symbolism but short on substance.
When a permanent solution is reached, we will not only bring an end to all forms of violence, but seriously consider removing the cyanide pills from all our fighters.
If the war resumes, Nadhi fully expects to die, to one day lie here alongside her friend Yasu. This is just one of 8 martyr cemeteries in Tiger territory. Resting place for a total of 17,000 fighters, mostly teenagers, who died a so-called victorious death.
When we were together, if there was a battle, she used to say to me, "If I die a victorious death, will you come and visit my grave?" She used to say this, so I used to reply, "Why should I come to your grave if you die a victorious death?" She would say that I was her life friend and I should come.
Most Tigers are Hindu, and custom dictates they should be cremated. But elder brother Pirabarahan insists on burial as a potent symbol of sacrifice.
Whenever we have the time, we come. Anytime. Sometimes even at night. We'll come here, place flowers, and go.
And it is here that truth finally is revealed. For a tiger's real name is only announced upon death, painted on a headstone. A Tamil homeland, or a victorious death, was the call that sent many to an early grave here. But for peace to have any chance of succeeding, that all-or-nothing demand will have to be moderated, and compromise has never been a trait of the Tigers. But already there are small signs of hope. Now, for the first time, grass grows on the empty graves, awaiting the next batch of martyrs.